So you made a rotation to get the bot room for your team. Lifestealer doesn't really do much though fighting that, but you did coordinate the play, so it might have been worth it. But usually just standing around here to get this bounty room is a good idea. And as Lifestealer, it's usually a good idea to start blocking these creeps early, just because you're a melee hero, and you can immediately start trading near this area. Which is why, since you're up against like such an easy lane, you're up against two melee heroes, just hitting them right now it's probably a good idea. But you're able to get this Sinai. His flame breath was way too early, so that's probably a misplay by him, since that should be his way to just secure the creep. But you're really good at just hitting them right now. Like they don't have any real spells to punish you for just hitting them. Which is why like you have a very standard starting build. I think buying more tangos is probably a mistake here. I think generally just rushing the phase boots is a good idea. It lets you catch up with them, but I feel like being a little bit greedy against such a bad 2 melee hero lane in your Lifestealer. Orb Corrosion might be a good idea. It'll just let you kill anyone who's out of position, basically, with that paired with the Jakiro slow. I think that could let you just like dominate the lane instead of just doing well, because you're obvious. I don't feel like there's any way they punish you in this lane at all. I think Jakiro should probably help you with that. You can try pinging that, like try to coordinate like with your support to get this last hit, because it's really low, and I guess the Earthshaker messed up there. Like that was a good deny. Like even there, I think hitting Dragonite a couple times would have been what done some work. Yeah, like that's good pressure, but like I feel like you can be doing that a lot more. So you might be right here that like you shouldn't be pulling since the lane's pretty even. You just have like one extra melee creep, but that means it will be pushing. Like you're just not in sync with Jakiro, it seems. Like he's using a spell on enemy creeps, and you're just trying to keep the lane stagnant. But I think pulling here is fine. I like this more though. This getting the stack, so I feel like your equilibrium is better. But you could have been this whole time hitting the Dragonite more. Like that would have been a good time to go on the Dragonite. At worst, you missed that CS, but you missed it anyway, so not much. And here, now this I think is when you pull, because now you have way too many creeps, and you're gonna get punished for this. But you should really just be hitting these creeps, so they can get aggroed. So I think you should have just been hitting the creeps that whole time there. It does turn into this, you have this overwhelming creep advantage though, so you can really start punishing them now. And I don't agree with this skill build. Since this is such an easy lane, you really don't need the rage. Getting just another level of feast will let you really just hit this Dragonite for even harder, to the point where his passive is not going to sustain him.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
It works out for this Earthshaker. Well, yeah. You wouldn't even need it though, is the thing. So the rage are really, I'd get it at level 4 just in case, but and you bought, let's see, 200, yeah, you definitely don't need the chainmail really. If you were up against like high physical damage heroes, getting the chainmail first might be a good idea, but you definitely don't need it here with you being able to sustain. So I think, yeah, I think the 2 levels of feast would have really let you stay on that target. And you gotta be careful. You really gotta watch out for the Koryo. Okay, I'm just trying to process. Like, how is the creep wave this chaotic? Like, there's no way this is
Dire's middle tower.
like, sure, you're getting kills off this, but like, how are there so many creeps? I I think you should definitely be hitting creeps more or something. It's also the pole camp. Let's see. So like Jakiro's trying to pull the creeps, and there's this many enemy creeps. So you should definitely be hitting and just sustaining yourself. You're like waiting to deny this, but by you can stand in this area for this deny and also be lifestealing off of this range creep here. You should just be whittling down some of these creeps out. There's just like too many. There's even too many neutral camps. So even if you mess up the equilibrium, you still have the opportunity for Jakiro to pull, which he's doing. It's just making this whole thing way too chaotic, and it really doesn't need to be, because you are going to pressure the Dragon Knight anyways. But with so many of the enemy creeps, you're making it harder on yourself to even hit the Dragon Knight. If the lane was purely even, you could just bully Dragon Knight out in lane, and then Jakiro could be pulling. Instead, you just have just a really chaotic lane, and it really doesn't need to be. So like Dragon Knight walks up here. This whole time when you were hitting creeps, you could have already killed one of these creeps, which would make you level 4. And you decide to skill Ghoul Frenzy. I was looking at Dota Pro Tracker. I thought like getting another level Ghoul Frenzy, which you did, is not the best skill build, but I see people do it. I think against a hero like Dragon Knight, you definitely want the second level Feast, because it does max health as damage and lets you sustain more. But maybe Ghoul Frenzy is right. I'm not exactly sure, because the max health as damage I think is probably very effective against him. But this is such an easy lane, you don't really need the extra sustain from Feast, so the move slow might be better. But again, that's why I'm thinking like maybe Orb of Corrosion's the play, just because of how aggressive you could get. There's like no way Dragon Knight would walk up against that, and that's basically having the Feast damage and the slow and Jakiro slow. So I just don't think second level Ghoul Frenzy's that good. As you could be level 4 right now, and this would definitely kill Dragon Knight. You wouldn't even need to like use all these I don't think you would even have to use rage in that situation. And the kill doesn't pan out. Again, you just hit level 4, got Ghoul Frenzy, and it's just not enough. I think Feast would have definitely killed him. So now you're having to deny your creeps, and now they're double waved on you. It's just a mess. So that worked out, but it really shouldn't have. You're super low. If you had, obviously you lost your items too. You would have had boots and blades of attack. But like there, if you had level 2 and Feast, you would have way more health right now. And it also lets you hit the creeps for more health as well.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
But like, Jakiro got the last hit on that, but the way this lane has been played, I don't think they should have been able to get any like XP or last hits in this hard camp at all. If you played it a little bit better.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So you definitely committed that a little bit early. I think it's better instead of running at Earthshaker with Rage Run. I think it's just better to dodge the Dragon Tail. I feel like that's the only thing you're really looking out for is Dragon Tail. It's probably about the same stun duration, but there's not much you can do about the enchant totem. That's a weird thing about the Jakiro being in your lane, because like really you don't need him. So you could just be like level 6 right now. Jakiro could be using the portal or something, or he could just be pulling through the small camp. I'm not sure. Him just sapping XP is definitely just hurting your game. I think the raindrops are also not necessary. It's good you're thinking about buying them, but if one Dragon's Breath just takes away the raindrop, then it was definitely not worth it. Yeah, I can't see. You could just sustain by hitting the creeps, so it's possible this is a good pickup on Lifestealer, and it's good you're considering it, but definitely not this lane.
Middle tower has fallen.
In fact, I feel like out of all the carries that would consider buying raindrops, Lifestealer's got to be one of the lower ones, just because of having the ability to rage and run away. So again, I think you're committing that way too early if you need it. Obviously, like, if that was more dangerous, you might have needed to just escape the tower range. But really, Dragon Knight's only dangerous if he turns towards you and it looks like he's about to Dragon Stun. If he's like facing the opposite way, then you don't need to rage. It looks like he's gonna die anyways, but yeah, it was on cooldown. Okay. But yeah, that's the one spell you need to use Rage for in this lane. He dies anyways, but that should just be an example of what you're looking out for.
Mine.
Your denies are good, and you're like twice the CS is Dragon Knight. So you're definitely winning this lane. But I feel like at the 10-minute mark, you should be aiming for 70 CS, and you're probably going to be at like 50, right? With these 5 creeps. So you missed like probably 20 CS in this lane, and since it's such an easy lane, I feel like you should be at that 70 CS mark. So part of that is going to be jungle camps, of course, but I think it's really doable. when you like doubled up the wave so many times in this lane, that's like what prevented you from hitting the jungle camps. There were just too many of your creeps and the enemy creeps that you didn't have time to hit neutrals or anything like that. It's good how you're like putting yourself in between the lane and Dragonite, because he really should not be able to walk up casually or anything. But I feel like this is still lacking efficiency. If
Dire's bottom tower.
it's just weird you're going on, or well, I mean, it's Skyrim managed doing this, but
Is under attack.
ooh, that's unfortunate. Okay, what went wrong here? I think Skyrim going on Dragonite is odd. I feel like you should really just be left alone in this lane. Dragonite's not getting that much out of it, but Skyrim wants to go for an aggressive kill. He doesn't even have Atos yet. He could really just be farming that. Really, this is just because of your supports, but I think you should just be solo in this lane. Maybe you could tell them to leave. Like, Monkey King is solo probably right now, and your lane's a tri lane. And really, I think Monkey King should be the one getting pressured, and they should not be able to pressure you. You always have these outs if they come to your lane. So yeah, I think this item, the skill build's wrong, since if you just had a max health damage, you could really pressure Dragonite with your attacks. So Skyarf is going on this play, and I don't think it makes sense. He's still off his Rod of Atos timing, which would have just made this play possible and to begin with. And Jakiro's not in position. Neither are you. So I don't think you should be going for this in the first place. I think you should just be hitting the creeps like normal, farming here, farming here. Dragonite already can't really walk up farther than lane than past this hard camp really. He could potentially walk up here and pull, but then that's when doing this is easier instead of pushing him back like this. So you even had vision of this Invisor and Shadowfiend walking up to this sentry, which is lucky, because this could have got you completely off guard. But as soon as you see that, you should probably be backing off. Instead, you just hit the Monkey King, because you can kill him and just end this. But your teammates, if they're smart, can already get out of the ring, and the Shadowfiend also about to push him out of the ring anyways. So they probably have an escape. You, on the other hand, are going to die because you get pushed into this tower by Shadowfiend's ult. So your best play is just to infest the creep immediately. That's your best out here. You could even potentially like just use the infest to kill Monkey King, and you're probably dodging the ult. Or rather just gaining some health, which you don't have rage, so that's probably not a good play, but it's a potential play. Instead, you got pretty unlucky because right before you're about to infest this creep, you get Ogre stunned from the fog. But you could have expected that since they were TPing other supports. So what you turned into what should just be you winning a lane against a solo Dragonite. And your team, by the way, Monkey King is just solo probably farming the jungle. They could have been pressuring him. And there's no way they would be able to pressure you with all your abilities, even with rotations, as long as you're just being careful at full health. Instead, you get killed. And just, this is not a good outcome. But you said this was a stomp, and that was presumably your only, yeah, this was your only death the whole game. I looked at your items, just really staring stuff. I don't think you could have done better itemization. This is just what the pros are building. I think your skill builder's on. You should have just got more of the feast, just because of how much max health you can take off of a hero like Dragonite. That just applies to most strength heroes. Even Earthshaker would get owned by it. Yeah, they brought a lot of support, so I'm not surprised your support showed up, but I really don't think they need to be here. I mean, I guess this is your mid, right? Mid Skyrath. Yeah, he should like be farming. I don't know why he's actually acting like a position 4. I don't know what to say. So you're wondering if your supports carried you? I don't think so. I don't know what they're doing, in fact. Because this should be your mid thing, right? You should be off farming, doing mid things. And that's the thing. You're farming this small camp and Lion's pulling. I think ideally you're just the one doing this pull, which just like lets the creeps probably meet. So it's just like delaying time. I don't think it's. I mean, farming this is fine because the hard camp's about to spawn there, so that's okay, I guess.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Let's see. Is this rotation what you really want to be doing? You're walking into 4 heroes. This does not look good. You could just be pushing in the lane, farming all this way, that way. So I don't see what you're saying that this is the portal play you want to make. Lifestealer, out of most carries, is probably not going to make portal plays. It's good you're considering them, but as a Lifestealer, this is not a good rotation. And yeah, it looks like you might just survive here, luckily, due to infesting, I imagine. Yeah, but you got lucky. Shadow Fiend could have easily been like a pro and timed his Requiem of Souls back. You survived with Arma Toggle. But yeah, you didn't get out of this scot-free because you outplayed them. I think they just outplayed themselves.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And you go back top,
Dire's top tower
where you probably should have been that whole time. I mean, they got punished, but really, yeah, that's just luck on your part. And if you had died there, they would have got this tower. Which wouldn't be the end of the world. You could still farm up here the whole time. But the tower shouldn't be that low.
Is mine.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And generally it seems Lifestealer wants to farm up top until he gets Radiance. And then once he gets Radiance, you can rotate between these ancient camps. And being in this area lets you, as with the Radiance, push in the mid lane really quick if it's pushed in. Like if it's right here, you can push in the mid lane or push in this lane. So it gives you like better access to 2 creep waves than top. Whereas right now, you just want to be farming this entire top area until you get that Radiance.
Stolen right out from under.
So that's what I think is crazy though, is you're at 85 last hits, and I said 70 last hits at 10 minutes is like really good performance. So you're only slightly ahead of that 6 minutes later. And I think you have a lot of gold just because of the kills you participated in. But most of that was just luck. You should have got punished. So this could have been a stomp on the Radiance part. If they didn't get like slightly unlucky with some of their like timings. Like a good Shadow Fiend would have definitely landed Requiem of Souls before you got infest, and then you would have got stunned up, had no health, died. And again, you're in a situation where you have all your supports up here, and you could probably solo this. Obviously, you might lose the tower if all four of them are pushing, but at that point, it's probably worth it. It's like, whatever. They're coming 4 heroes showing top. You're farming jungle camps, and your supports are somewhere else on the map. And that would let them kill the Monkey King, because if they saw a 4 here, which is the only way they take this tower, they'd have to show multiple heroes. Otherwise, you could just farm the lane safely and protect it. But this tower just acts as like one more defense layer as you're farming this. Other than that, it's not that useful. It's like not worth sending 4 heroes here. And they get the kill, but it just doesn't make much sense. Like, they're just punished because they're silly. Like, they're pushing into a tower, and your supports are already there. But really, that's why they should just be somewhere else, and your supports would just, you know, I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's just not what's supposed to be happening.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And now you go bot because your team is all top, which, yeah, fair. Like, generally, rotating down here as a carry is fine, but as Lifestealer, there's actually way more farm up top right now. Eventually, you're going to have Radiance soon. So, and this is like a decent time to rotate. Like, once you get your Sacred Relic, you're very close to Talisman of Evasion, so being down here isn't a bad idea. And that's probably a good time to just start hitting the ancient camps. Like, you could be doing that right now. Pushing up to this tower is a little risky, especially with the Dawn ult down. If Dawn ult was up, you could definitely just maybe even go for a Monkey King kill. You do get it. But they definitely could have rotated heroes. Lion showed up in time. I think Monkey King was out of position. And you're coming down here to get this tower, I presume. But if you're down here, I definitely think you should be hitting Ancients. So I'm starting to notice that I kind of thought like maybe it'd be the opposite. Like, if your team wouldn't play around you since you're the carry, but it's like the opposite. Your supports are all sticking around you because you're the carry. But it's like way too early. The time when it was Lifestealer, you're like with your team the most is definitely the Radiance timing, which is you're gonna about to hit soon, but not quite yet. So I think that's all we kind of need to look at for this game, since the rest of the game is a stomp. You're not gonna die a single other time. And now you're doing what you should be doing, is just hitting these camps, and you hit Radiance. So, yeah, this is definitely your power spike. You know, accelerate your farm, get the next item, which, yeah, I agree with. The itemization here is what everyone else is doing on Lifestealer. It's like worth considering other items like Basher and stuff, but this just seems like the easiest itemization that's always effective. So yeah, you're able to make plays like this happen. Again, your team's like 5 manning into 1 hero, which is fine. But like, they're definitely not getting max farm efficiency. You could be though. And you're back to hitting creeps. You can go to the ancients, hit the ancients, all these lanes. So yeah, from here on out, it's smooth sailing. The enemies are definitely not going to catch up to you the way they're playing. The funny part is though that, and the only thing you can improve on, this could have been an even harder stomp. You probably could have had the CS you have right now like 2 minutes ago for Radiance. That's probably about it. And you did have 1 avoidable death, so this could have been a absolutely perfect game, especially considering the lane of 2 melee offlaners. It's looking like Lifestealer is a really good pick at this level for sure. I don't know if there's other offlaners that would pressure this hero harder, but Lifestealer's looks like he's in a really solid spot. So for the most part, this was a pretty good game. You just need to like work on making sure creeps aren't as doubled up, and there's not like a crazy double stack neutral camp that's alive for forever, because that just makes the lane a little too chaotic and too many variables, because it could be a very simple, straightforward situation of Lifestealer versus Strength Hero and you win the trades. Instead, the creeps just make it a little bit hard to assess like who's actually